What we've got here is a project I'm doing to do line of sight internet connection to give some metadata from an incomer over to another panel that we've got, and we're going to echo that on as a 420 milliamp signal to a piece of plant. So we thought we'll try this line of sight stuff, see how good it is. Sight is impossible apparently to get a cable or a fibre optic or a piece of wet string across the site to get the comms over. So we have used these before and they were pretty good. So I thought I'd do a quick unboxing and trying one out. This is the LBE5AC Gen2. It's from Ubiquiti. So it's a Litebeam 5AC, ultra lightweight, 5 GHz, Air Max, AC CPE with inner feed technology. I have no idea what that is. Comes with various bits. I've already been in it because I've nicked a part out of it for the control panel. But here's what you get. So a bit of a mounting bracket, some spirit level thing on it. The main transmitter receiver. I did pay to have this set up with IP addresses. I don't know what I paid. I think it's about 10 or 15 quid. Don't really know what that benefits me. Don't think it does a lot. Some of the bits, power supply, some nuts and bolts, Jubilee clip for your cooling hoses, and then you've got the antenna, and there is a manual and a little manual. So the main event is obviously the dish. It comes in 2 bits. It slots together and then you screw it together, and then that gives you your dish. So like that, and then like that. You do have to buy 2 of these. They do sell them singly, about 100 something, maybe not even that. I think they were cheaper than that. I'll put a line up to say how much they cost. So you slot them together and then you put the screws in here. These little screws with a bit of Loctite on them, kind of locking adhesive. This slots into this section. This section goes in first and it marries up with that. So you kind of, this slots into there. It does have a, I'm sure that is actually in. It doesn't have a nice clip to it. I don't know if that should. Feels like it's home, but it doesn't feel like. I think it's just a little bit off. Classic. Yeah, it's just not right. That doesn't feel. Does it need a? There we go. A bit of brute force and ignorance. So that's where your Cat6 cable would go, duct grey because it'll be outside, and then you push it through, you put your end on, whoop, into the RJ45 socket, and this is a power over Ethernet 24 volt system, and all the brains are in here for doing the work, the LAN, the transmitter and the receiver. The rest of all this now is, there's a way up, a proper way up, they've got a gradient on them. And then just to go around a pole. cuts through that little shaft bit there. That's you sorted. Assembled, and the obvious main bit, the most important bit, we have to put a label on it to say what it is. So it's a AE35 antenna, and I don't think that's going to give us any problems. This is the power over Ethernet adapter, and that wires over to the switch on this job. So it's got two LAN connections, one with the power over Ethernet and one for your local area network connection. So I've wired the two panels together on an Ethernet link, and I've got the LAN networks working. I mean, the plan on this job is the panels are going to be remote from each other, and we haven't got a cable between the two. So I'm going to get it working on a cable, which I have done. Yeah, because I'm jumping on there. So I've had it working on the cable. I got these set up by broadband buyer, but that was a complete waste of time because I ended up having to factory reset them because I couldn't get the password to work. So I've started again, and I've been on the phone. And what you do on the phone is you turn them on, you jump on the Wi-Fi for the individual receiver, and then you log in through the YISP, whatever it is, app. It's really fun. Not working now because I've turned off the YISP. So it's this app here, and you would be, and it would then discover. So if you did, and then you'd put in the Wi-Fi, the IP address or whatever. But when you go to set it up initially, it will find them. And from there, you just follow the instructions on there, and you set up your IP address and what you want it to do. So what I've gone for on this is the fixed IP address. So they've both got static IP addresses. This is showing one of the components on the system, so we're taking the data off this meter, and in the bottom left it's showing that we've got comms. This data's being picked up on Modbus RTU, going into a gateway that converts it from RTU to TCP. There's the RTU connection there. It runs out the RTU module and jumps on the LAN, and we've got a LAN extender there, and then there's the LAN cable. This is just proving that we can get communications between the two panels on a fixed wire before we start messing with the antenna. The top value is the count coming from the meter, and then next to the panel I've got the laptop plugged into the switch in the panel, and then that's the data being pulled out of the meter. I've got the voltage, frequency, some of the bits and pieces. It's just set up for tests, so I've only got one phase on it. This is showing the same again, but using the antenna. We're getting the power out of the meter through the Modbus RTU. We're gatewaying over up to TCP. There's the power of Ethernet. We're going through the antenna, and then there's the other antenna, and I've put the box in the way to sort of attenuate the signal because it's just a bit high. There's the other power of Ethernet adapter, and that's banging it back into the switch to give it to the PLC. And then them numbers going up. The top one is from the meter, and then this is showing the graphical user interface for one of the antennas and the graphical user interface for the other antenna. So that's showing the signal being attenuated, albeit very good. And if I move the attenuation box out of the way, we can see that the signal becomes too high, and it will now give you a complaint saying the signal's too strong. We've turned it right down on the signal just for this test, but even so, that these things are designed for quite a considerable distance away from each other, not to be sat on a bench, but it proves the point that the basic settings are there. This is the graphical user interface for this product using this OS 8. This is let's go on the main screen. So if we say call this point A and point B, I'm looking at both of these, and I'm looking at these over the antenna. I've got the two dishes pointing away from each other to stop this warning about too much power. And this is the kind of data you can get off it. I've had a load of problems with DFS when we first got it going. Notwithstanding that I actually bought, I paid to have it set up by a company. Seems like it's an extra 15-20 quid to get them to set it up for you. it came, the password didn't work, and I couldn't get it to work. Doesn't help, they said you were massive, hugely long password, and you can't see it, so I'm not messing about. So I factory reset it, sent it to go again, part configured them, and then we had to wait for an hour for it to do this DFS. So it sits in this mode here, and you have whatever it's called, air gate or something off for doing a DFS, and it did it on both. After about an hour it sorted it. Interestingly, once I got the comms up, I was able to power the system on and off, and straight away it got the comms back. And then after about half an hour being on, it did a full scan again on this DFS frequency, but it's not bothered again since, and it seems to be very quick at getting the comms back up. So I think it does a DFS scan if it's been powered after so long, but it doesn't affect the actual comms. Even though you can't see this here, it still lets the comms continue to run. On the setup, because of where we are on this site, I personally don't want the DFS function. The DFS gives you a longer range and more of a band to work over, but we're only 500 metres apart, and I don't want to be spewing out these things. I've supposedly, I think I read somewhere 12 kilometres, but I have read 30 kilometres. That seems a bit unrealistic. I don't want to be miles off. I don't want to be going all over the world with this. I just want to be, try to keep it on site as much as possible. So we've turned the DFS off, and by turning that off, it doesn't keep jumping around, because if it sees a frequency like a weather station or a radar in a DFS band, it will move you up the frequency. And when I tried this on another site, it would lose comms. So in an hour, I would have comms for about 5 minutes, and then I'd be off for the rest of the hour, else it was messing about, and it was that unreliable. I was ending up looking at ripping it out. But so I changed it, and we now, because of the we're not using this DFS, it did work on that site, so I'm going to stick with it because it's about the same distance on this, about 500 metres. But when you do turn the DFS function off and you're just on these non-DFS ones, it narrows down this channel width and it reduces your power output, so it says I can really only go about 600 metres, which will do. That'll do for me. I'm going to sort of test it now on here. I don't know, but and then with this, the other problem I had, I jumped online. I was having this problem with the DFS, and I had to downgrade the software, the firmware version. Because that was at 15, brought it down to 9. I jumped online and asked if there's any problems with the latest firmware, and it says you'll get stuck in a DFS, searching for DFS forever, and you'll have loads of issues with it. That was on a forum, so I just thought, well, I'm not messing about. I know the last job I did was on 8.7.9, and that to this day is still working. That's about 3 years ago. So obviously I'm on this bench here, you set line to line, but I'm going to go up the hill and get some distance on it and see how well it works. And then if we know it's going to work on here, I know it's going to be pretty good when I get to site, and I'm not going to have to mess about. They're a bit of a pig to set up these in some regards. If you're willing to wait, I'd say give it an hour on this DFS for the first time. It seems to sort itself out, and then after that they're pretty good. There are certain tools like this. I'm just jumped on the microphone, it was overwhelming, that tool. So you can set the amount of power you want, and then you can use the dish to align up with the other dish, and as it gets more powerful it'll beep more and then it'll beep less, and you see as you change the power, and then you can just turn it off because it's annoying. My plan to test this now is to put the antenna there, and I'm sort of pointing it up there, and I'm going to jump up to that corner, and I'm going to shoot it back down and see if we can get comms with it. I've set the antenna up, I've got a little UPS just going to power it off that. Laptop there, so I'm going to power it up, and the antenna is in that workshop. We'll see what we get. So I'm actually quite impressed with that. It's got the comms up pretty much straight away. The through rate's down, and it's sort of saying 450 metres, but we can see, we've got this decibel is a bit off. I think that's because the alignment's off, but if we should be able to go into this tool, that's the UPS whinging, alignment, I should be able to turn that up. really doesn't need a lot on the... That'll, you know, I could spend a bit of time. It's going to whinge that the delta's a bit too high. No, it's come back, it's not too bad. So I should be able to jump on the web browser on the PLC back at the container all the way over there. I'm quite pleased that's come on quite quick. So 192.168.1.10. Is that going to work? It's whinging the meter's lost its comms because I've not got it plugged in, but we're on the PLC and that's back in the workshop, so you know, you can't really complain at that. And I'm actually pleased that's worked. I'm also more pleased that the car's got here without having a suspension fault, which is pretty horrific. It's done 450 metres without breaking down, so for an L322 you're doing well. I'm quite pleased, and just not touching it, it has actually settled down. That's more than acceptable, I should imagine. Someone's going to tell me I'm not, but there's a whinge there occasionally. But he's finding the comms straight away, which is good. So I'm quite confident if we get it set up reasonably well at site, we can then do a bit of alignment and it's there. Happy days.
I've just picked up a fault in the AE35 unit. It's going to go 100% failure within 72 hours.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.